Well, the next phase of impeachment proceedings is heating up. Congress and the White House are bracing for key reports stemming from the Russia investigation. The Department of Justice Inspector General is examining the FBI's conduct in the probe, which the president and his allies have questioned. But the Democrats are demanding to know why the DOJ watchdog is not examining the actions of the president's attorneys general who oversaw the agency. NBC's Ken Dilanian has been following this story. And Ken, the inspector general here, a guy named Michael Horowitz, was an Obama appointee, guy with a solid reputation, best we can tell. So take us through these concerns that Democrats have, and why do they have those concerns now?
That's right, Craig. Nobody is suggesting that Michael Horowitz, the independent watchdog appointed by President Obama, is partisan or is unfair or is unethical. But what Democrats are concerned about is they feel like he's avoiding the tough fights. They say that he did a lot of really fraught investigations under President Obama, including, if you remember, that ATF gunwalking scandal known as Fast and Furious. And he took on then Attorney General Eric Holder. He did some really hard investigations. Democrats are not seeing him do the same thing when it comes to what they see as the politicization of the Justice Department under William Barr. Nor did he really look into allegations against Jeff Sessions. In fact, Democrats in the Senate and the House have asked Inspector General Horowitz to do a number of investigations, including whether Jeff Sessions violated his recusal into the Russia investigation and how William Barr handled that Mueller report. And Horowitz has taken a pass, in part because Robert Mueller was investigating, but Mueller conducted a criminal investigation. The IG has a different role. The IG looks at whether people have followed the rules. And Democrats have also said that he spent a lot of his time investigating Obama appointees like James Comey and Andrew McCabe and things that happened in the 2016 election, but he's not really looking hard at things that AG William Barr is doing right now, Craig.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.